Evening. Thank you all for coming. First council meeting to start off the year 2022. We do appreciate it. We've got several of you here in attendance tonight, so that's good. Hopefully we'll have a good, smooth meeting and get some things accomplished. Okay, y'all all got a copy of tonight's agenda? All right, we'll run down it real quick. Hopefully we can knock this out in just a minute and get into some discussion. Okay, the call to order, we'll do that first. Invocation, we've gone down, I think I did it, and then Jason did that. Ms. Reese, would you mind tonight?
Sure.
Thank you very much. We got roll call. I think Councilman Skelton is going to be unable to attend tonight, so we got the rest of us are here. Did y'all have a chance to look over the agenda? Okay, so if one of you want to make a motion that we'll approve that, and
I can do that.
Second.
Do we need to do it now?
no, I'm writing it down for the. Okay, the minutes from our last meeting of December 21st, 2021.
I haven't seen the minutes in my package. That's what I was sitting here hunting.
Oh, I didn't print on my email them to y'all. Do you want to print a copy?
It's hard to prove them, but I hadn't read them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sent those.
We'll have a copy printed before the meeting for you to review.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Recognitions tonight. I don't think there's anything set for recognitions tonight, is there, Heather?
No, sir. We did have a call from Ms. Judy Cowan that she wanted to speak on the visit tonight. She didn't make it on the agenda.
Okay. Ms. Callen, you want to come up real quick and tell us what we're going to be talking about? So you got Ms. Lavinia with you there also? The others?
Yeah, tonight, we're mainly here to talk about the agreement. We feel like that we can't move forward without it, and we're ready to move forward. 5.5 years ago, Ms. Atchison and Lavinia and several others came and met before the council and got the project rolling. We did not think it would take us 5.5 years, but of course, Mary passed away and things kind of fell apart for a while, and then COVID hit, so there's a lot of reasons that we haven't moved forward. But we definitely are ready to move forward, and we'd like to move forward in the early part of this year. So in order to do that, we feel like we need to know where we stand with the council, especially with the agreement. So if it's signed and, or if there's amendments to be made to it or whatever you need to do, we need to know that so that we can look at it and let's get forward moving. We're still busily doing projects to try to get the money to do this. We've got quite a bit now in our furnishings account, and we got the 120,000+ in our building account. So we've made two proposals one proposal to the council. I guess it was one, might have been two. One was to curtail it until we can do the whole project, and the other was to do the outside work to where it would look like it was finished, and then do the inside work as we could. So those are two of the proposals that we presented to the council probably 3 months ago. So we'd like for that to also be in consideration.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we can discuss that a little more right now. If you'd like, we can go on down the agenda and complete that and come back and see if y'all want to pursue that any further, or what y'all's feelings are on that.
I'm ready to, I'll discuss it a little bit if you'd like.
All right, then we won't go.
I'm ready to go forward with it also, to maybe as far as the money will go that they have now, and at least get the project started. And, you know, I don't want to kind of keep waiting because they liable to do something else with the money, you know, and
It might all take
I would like for the project to get started. I know this is ongoing, and it's been, all of us has been, on our plates, but, I think once it gets going, like you say, they have other things they're gonna do. As far as the agreement, I know there was a little concern there, as far as how much we would maybe try to put in or whatever. That's just what I'm concerned with, not knowing that amount. But if they're willing to get started and spend the money that they've got, that's what I think I would like to do.
Mr. Butler?
Yeah, the same way. I'm with what Randy said.
Okay. Ms. Reese?
Yeah, if they want to go ahead and start with the money they have raised, that would be great. Get things started. Looking forward to seeing it.
Mr. Phillips?
I'm 100% in favor of starting now, and question I've got is, do you need some help on getting your contractors? In other words, I'm sure, I'm sure Tom can furnish you with the list. I assume you'll get 3 quotes on everything you do, and he knows just about every contractor around here.
We've gotten 4 names from him,
Okay,
and we're ready to pursue those.
okay. Well, let's call them up.
Can I ask a quick question? Will we be held under the agreement if y'all don't sign it, or are you gonna sign the agreement prior to our beginning?
No, I think it would be on us to sign any agreement before, for us to enter into it. That means that, I think we should sign any agreement for our protection and for y'all's protection. So, I mean, that would clearly define, the roles and what we're going to do. I likewise will concur with the council. I'd like to see the project get started. Hopefully we can continue to raise money and provide some more where we, at some point in the not too distant future could see the project completed. So, like you said, 5 years is a long time to be trying to raise money, and so keep everybody interested. Jay, how close are you to getting an agreement where we can sign, where they'll go ahead and?
Y'all should have it. The last time we were here, it was up here, there was an issue.
There was one issue that
I believe it was the money. It was
Yeah,
a cutoff on the
we
money.
weren't going to sign it like that.
That's why I was bringing it up in that fashion. That's where the issue's coming up, and that we're having trouble agreeing to the amount, or,
I think we weren't sure what the limit that the city would be responsible for. That was the concern, if it's my understanding correctly.
The ladies may could help, but what I remember is that the last proposal is a cutoff, that y'all would be cut off at the limit that's in the agreement, I think. And that we'd be responsible for the balance. And that's
That,
not-
we didn't know what our balance would be, and that was,
We didn't know what it was.
right, that was the
We did
concern.
not- We did not say that we were not going to contribute any more. We just said that we capped it at 120 until we come to an agreement with the council. And that's where we are right now. Is that, is it that,
Yeah, I think
is it
so.
that our
It was
understanding?
just the unknown of what the city's exposure was, I think, is what was kind of left.
Well, right, I don't want to speak for everybody at the council, but I feel like we were kind of trying to put us in the ballpark a bit on what it is, so we have a projected cost to complete it, so we would know what our possible liability would be to complete the project. And I feel like we still really need to get something like that, Tom.
As
so
soon
we
as
know-
we can get the bids back, which we're working on now, well, then we should be able to give a ballpark figure. We didn't give a dollar amount. I think the agreement only says we're asking for a monetary support from the council. That's what the agreement stipulated. We didn't say any dollar amount.
Right, and
Any other questions on the agreement that I can answer? 'Cause is
I
that-
can't think of any, but it's been a while since we looked at it. I know the concern was the unknown amount.
And it says monetary. We're only asking that the city contribute monetary amounts.
Well, see, the way I read it, and I might have misunderstood it, it was pretty much saying that y'all were capping it at 120, and that was gonna be it. That's the reason I wanted to see that one little line scratched, because, I don't feel like that's what y'all meant or anything like that either, but that's
Well, we
kind of how
capped
it
it
was.
at that time because we were presenting it to you 3-4 months
Right.
ago.
Right.
See what I'm
It's
saying?
been a while.
It's been a while, and that's the reason why we need to know, really, as we get into it, what, dollar amount. You don't have to give a dollar amount. We just wanted to know that y'all were supportive of the chapel.
I think everybody here is, and also,
And
one
we
thing,
need a signed agreement, so we don't want to venture off into this and not be in agreement or do something that we should not be
and
doing.
it'd probably be easier on that dollar amount where the city'd be is once we get the black end finished, completed, and see where we're at and how much money is liking,
But if you have a problem with signing the agreement as it is, as Judy said, we just need to know what y'all will sign now. And if you want to delete that, well, just, get back with Judy on it, and then we'll see if we can live with it. That's
Tom, how
basically-
long do you think it would take for us to get something, just some quotes in to see what we're looking at, so we'd at least be in the ballpark?
They ought to be able to get them in 30 days. Give you a ballpark, it's like, and if they're gonna only cap theirs at 120, what if it costs 100? Are you guys gonna guarantee that 100 now, or just set it at a certain amount for now?
That's what Mr. Phillips, I think, was saying, and I believe Allison was also at the last meeting, was saying that we just, before entering into an agreement, we would like to have an approximate amount of what we're looking at spending, which is a fair thing for the council to ask.
Get an estimate, and then get a blanket estimate, that'll give you a ballpark number to agree on.
I'd like to get some of it there. I mean, that gives y'all also the knowledge on what we're looking at, what our goals are to reach in order to complete the project, because none of us want to get in the middle of the project and realize we're, way under budget, or our planning portion wasn't where it needed to be. So,
could we enter into an agreement with a contractor without the contract being signed?
well, we're just, right now, getting bids. No, I don't think they would I don't think a contractor would probably do that, but maybe they would. But would that be good for us to give 30 days for us to try to get bids and know what type of money we're looking at spending, so y'all would know what our possible liability would be to complete the project? Because once we get the project going, I feel like we're gonna move toward completing it. At least I hope we will.
We probably also need to make sure that we take into account how long they'll hold the pricing for.
90 days, usually 90 or 120.
Well, not these days. It seems like
Yeah,
it's a lot
usually you
lower.
can still lock them in on 90 days.
Yeah. But that'll be good to, to take into account as well.
But that price is not gonna matter, I don't think, in the end. When we get to this point and they've spent what they've got, I mean, it might take a year or longer from then, but we don't know that, and I mean, to hold, a contractor's price, that they ain't gonna be able to do that, I don't think.
Not for no year, they're not.
No, and I mean,
Started. Like I say, I personally like to see them take bids and go ahead and do the concrete, the rough end plumbing, do the exterior, because I know the money's there to do all that. Then it's a little bit easier to sit and see when their money's gone, where we at in the project. I mean, are we $80,000 away? It lets us look at what's left to complete it and what we can obligate ourselves to do. Because,
There again, though,
we might do more than what we're thinking with the money they got.
but I mean, we might do it in phases. We might,
Yeah.
say give 20,000 here, wait a while till we can, get some more money and do a little more then, as they'll be raising money also. I mean,
The electrical's gonna be hard to figure out the cost right now on it, the plumbing, I mean, Tom's got a good general idea of each of it, and, I personally think we will get further than we think with $120,000.
Well, that would be good. I mean,
I do.
That's what all of our hopes are, but
Sure.
But that's the only way you know the obligation of what we could give at the end is what's liking and what's it gonna cost, you know?
But I would,
I'd want to know that up front.
I mean, I
Yeah.
understand your question.
We can get a lock and key price from 2 or 3 contractors, you know, but like I say, I'm sure that price can come in under that if you do that. Just have
The
somebody give
first
you a
meeting in
complete package
February
or
would be
budgetary price.
Sure.
February 1st, right? I mean, well, the 5 of us are in agreement, and I don't think Mr. Skelton has really objected. He did ask the same questions that Allison's asking. If we're all in agreement, can we take the next 4 weeks and look at getting bids and see where we're at so we know before we just sign a contract without knowing what the end result may be? So, but Tom, it's going to be imperative on you now to help get that. If we agree to do it on February the 1st, we'll hopefully be able to sign the agreement with them and be able to even maybe start the project soon after that.
They can get up to the contractors right away, start calling tomorrow, get the meeting set up, go over the plans that changed. And
But we're going to be putting public dollars in the project, I feel like, so we need to make sure that we comply with all the laws as far as anything that we do.
So we would need to coordinate.
Well, Tom's here basically every day. Right, we know that we're not going to have it firmed up and there's going to be changes made, but at least we're all in the ballpark. Y'all are in the ballpark, we're in the ballpark, and then we could set an anticipated start date on the project. And we got something in front of us, some drawings, instead of us just sitting here saying we agree to something that's not, you know, we don't have any blueprints or any bids at all or anything. And I would feel more comfortable doing that.
Several contractors already have blueprints.
Okay.
So I know Joe Tarver was his name. Joe Tarver has blueprints, and I'm not sure of the other.
Right, and, okay, well, we all agree that we're supportive of the project tonight. So hopefully that'll answer some of your question. And if we get that, that gives us, gives us and y'all 4 weeks to make sure that everything is in order. And we'll put them on the agenda for the first meeting in February. So we'll know it's coming up, so.
So can I ask for some clarification? The expectation of everyone is that the Women's Club, in coordination with Mr. Breon, will get the bids from the contractors and then present that back to the council for their review and then possible agreement.
Well, we hope that there will be an
Process
agreement,
that
right.
Everybody's in agreement to occur.
Right, Tom can coordinate to make sure that, everything we do is legal with the city and that we have what we need to, proceed, because it's going to be there on public property for the public, and we know there's going to be public money in it, so we don't want to go foul of the law of any part in this project, so, and that's not any of our intentions, I know. So, I feel like that, I believe the next month the project can be moving as long as we're getting bids back, we're coming to an agreement, then maybe we can sign something and hopefully pretty soon after that, get something going. Does that satisfy y'all? Are y'all okay with that now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right, we're going into reports, announcements from the mayor and council. We're going to have to give a letter of agreement with Civil Southeast. I let Tom and James meet with Alan from Civil Southeast regarding the sidewalks. Also, let Mr. Skelton look over the engineering from it. They've all agreed. Tom is at pretty well on the projects we've looked at. So we'll be doing that in the next few days. The rooms for the bass tournament, did we get that taken care of?
Yes, sir, I spoke to him today, and he was going to go ahead and reserve their rooms, and then I told him to bring their appropriate paperwork back to us
and make sure that they show we were sponsors.
What dates was that scheduled for?
This weekend.
This weekend, okay,
Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, they're supposed to start their pre-fishing today.
okay.
All right, I sent Miss Reese a text letting y'all know that tonight in our bills, you may see we had to have a tree removed from Baldwin Square. It had a limb fall. It was a large tree. If y'all have had a chance to go by, it was a little bigger than anything we could take down with our city crew. So we did get a contractor to remove that. Travis and James asked for that to be done as an emergency after the limb fell, just for safety reasons. So I wanted y'all to be aware of that. Just for the council, Bubba, I know you are on the water board, but we are pretty well back every day exchanging emails with either the county and or the engineering firm on the water sewer project. So that is still creeping along, and we hope that'll be released so we can have that going out to bids in the not too distant future. Unfortunately, as every couple of weeks, there's been a lot of illness in our community and some deaths. Y'all know that Mr. Lamar Lucas passed away, and he had his service a couple of weeks ago. Also, Doug Capps, a longtime resident here in Satsuma, passed away. So if y'all see any of their family members, you might want to express a sympathy there.
And Leanne Green's mother.
Yes, I heard that she had passed away. I'm very sorry. So Miss Leanne Green, former councilman in Creola's mother, passed away. Sad. Mr. Little, you going to do the senior report tonight?
I will.
Okay. I know we're in the first of the year now, so when the convention, I think, is it April or May this year? May. Heather, has the rooms, any of that become available yet, so we'd know the dates and all? So let's keep an eye on that, so we can make plans for who will attend that.
You will see in your notes tonight the CMO dates. They sent those out today, so I printed those for you. If you want to attend any of those,
Okay.
they're on there.
I think we finally got the contract worked out with Kara Stillman for our grants, so that will be signed. We'd already all agreed to that, but she just got that to me today, so wanted to look over that and let y'all know I would be signing that. Other than that, I wanted to let the employees know that the last several weeks, between the Christmas decorations we've had throughout the city, the couple of dinners that we've had, the Christmas parade, getting to work, Tom, on Steel Creek project and all, really done a good job. We've got a lot accomplished here in the last few weeks, so I do appreciate that, and some of those has gone an extra mile, so we appreciate that. And other than just the everyday things that are going on through the city, that's really all I have. Public services, Mr. Little?
Mayor, I was just gonna thank them, few that did, have to work some overtime on the holidays, but, thanks to them and everything run pretty smooth, I think, as far as sanitation and trash ramp and all. I'll take care of that, seniors report, and that's about all.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Butler?
Only got one thing, and that's about the fire department for the report. For the month of December, we got MS calls, we got 46. For fire calls was 72. The mutual aid was 5 calls with that. But also for the year of 2021, we got 676 calls for the EMS and 274 calls for the fire, for a total of 950 calls. You know, for the week of 2020, we got 842 calls. So this is about an hour and a half more than last year. So, you know, we got a lot of, in the history of the city, this was the most calls that we ever had in the fire department.
Chief, do we have a list of how many of them calls were made outside our city limits?
Got it right.
Okay, because I'd like to see just the numbers and know how
All I
much.
can give you is the number. I can't give you the rest of the report. The number, for the year,
Huh?
I'll show you these.
Okay. It just gives us an idea.
68 calls for 2021 outside the city.
That was a percentage of, well, how much?
66 of them were Creola calls.
What I'm saying, that's
8 calls.
25%.
Oh, no, it wouldn't be, maybe, what, no, yeah, it wouldn't be.
950
Yeah, well, that'd be
calls,
6-7%, it looks like,
Well, about 6.57%,
yeah.
950.
950 total, 108 more calls than we had last year. Right, and it should be, like he said. So about 94%, 94% of the calls are still here in Satsuma, our
A lot
jurisdiction.
of that for the year.
Thank you, I was doing it off the top of my head, so I'm 0.5% off, I'm sorry.
That's pretty good. I didn't even try.
All right, shows that fire and EMS calls are continuing to go up every year, so that's gonna be,
And also, we got I think all of the mayor and the councilman, we got a Christmas call for Margit Moore and Willie Croak.
Right.
And, we got a card, and she left $10 on that. But, you know, I'm returning the money back because, you know, I don't accept money. And, I know Ms. Moore, she has a church, and I'm gonna take that money back with him to her church. So other than that, that's all I have.
yeah, Miss Moore, one of our senior residents here in Satsuma, gave us all a card. I think it had a little small donation to us, so I think a couple of us donated back to senior services, so that's where that's kind of helps her and some of her people that's use those. So, in our senior services, if y'all listen to those reports, we probably need to spend more time letting them just see just how many meals are delivered. I mean, I think we're about 900 a month. I think we're running pretty much right now, and our calls now that things have opened back up. Of course, we got COVID coming back around now, but so many of the calls taking people to the drugstore or back to dialysis and all, those calls have gone up drastically also in the last few months. So that's a good service.
You know, I forgot one thing, we just, we got a grant for, to the firehouse, you know, for, subs.
Right.
And the chief has already remated, a grant, and it's for like $160,000.
Yeah, it's the
For the
AFG grant. I submitted the week before.
SCBA's.
Yeah, SCBA is $160,000.
Right.
You just submitted it.
I submitted it. We haven't
So-
got it. It's submitted.
I hope we get it,
And me too for that kind of
a
money.
little more, yeah.
And then we'll be submitting another grant January the 6th for
For those
hose and
hoses.
appliances and stuff for around $40,000.
Right.
It's already ready. We just gotta wait till it opens to submit it.
Okay. Next will be administration. Mr. Skelton, who was unable to attend tonight, I did discuss the contract, or we exchanged some emails or texts regarding the Kara Stallman contract and also the sidewalks a couple of weeks ago, so I don't think there was any further question about that. So I'd already mentioned those two things earlier, but that's the only two things I'm aware of that he may have had. So, next, Parks, Ms. Reese.
Yes, sir. I can go into more detail at the regular meeting, but I have two library announcements that I'll make for upcoming events. Went by Steel Creek. It looks really good. I'm going to get with Tom in the morning for the flooring and talk to Heather about the tennis courts. We believe that the gentleman that we were in agreement with thought that we were the high school when they were following up. So I guess he didn't realize it was two separate projects. So hopefully it's clear now and that we'll be on their schedule soon. Also,
Not the guy you signed the contract with, one of his employees.
I gotcha. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So also I got a quote on the sign for the Bark Park. And we have money in the budget at Magnolia Park. And then also money from the Bark Park fundraiser. And I would like to purchase the sign, but I have it back here pulled up if you guys want to take a look at it. And it includes the rules that the council put into the ordinance. And then that will be just another step into opening the Bark Park. Also, we had been working on it's not really a project, it was something that Tracy Nolfi and Crystal and other folks had been working on. It was to remove the scoreboard from the football field and move that fence in. So with baseball approaching, I would ask that we could maybe kind of refocus on that project to move the fence in before the baseball season starts so we can increase the parking in that area because it's always pretty congested at Lions Park. Because we had removed the dirt piles, and that was our intention, was to move it in. And I have a signed agreement with the two park presidents at the time that said it was okay that we did that. It just will allow for more parking. And that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Al. See if they can get that. We've got a couple of fence jobs that we need to have repairs done on anyway.
Okay.
Mr. Phillips?
Mayor, I just have the normal thing for Public Works. I'll bring them up during the regular meeting.
Okay, I asked them to, when they started submitting the reports, to try to break it down perhaps where we got the trash, debris, and those things and expenses a little more clearly, what goes from Mr. Little and what comes in under roads, drainage, and those projects that fall a little more in line with your budget there. Hopefully that'll help clarify some things. All right, our items for discussion and/or consideration tonight. Payment of the bills.
Mayor, I have one about the bills.
Okay.
I see where the library submitted for $15,000 funds to be paid to them. My question is that for labor or for expenses? You know, it just said the money.
That is for, were you asking him or did you want me to
It's in the
read it?
bills, yeah, if y'all look,
Okay.
you'll see it's in the
Yes.
bills.
Yeah, that was, wasn't that the appropriation increase
But what's
for
the money?
salaries?
Okay, well, say just said appropriations, it don't say for what, and I'd like to know what we spend the $15,000 on, that's what
Well-
I'm asking.
When we give an,
Appropriations that's in the budget every year they give, and it's given to them to,
Quarterly.
yes, sir.
And that's fine, I just didn't know which way the money went, is the reason I'm asking. You know, for salaries or for light bill or, you know, whatever.
no, that one specifically, the increase was to cover the cost of living raise. And then I took it from the salaries part in the parks, since we were down
Okay.
people.
That's fine, I just think it needs to detail out, hey, you know, we're doing
Well,
this money.
I think with an appropriation, they don't have, is it have to be earmarked? Or is it at their discretion?
I don't think they, I mean, like a line item, I don't think they have to do that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because they have their own board that approves their stuff and all.
Okay.
But it's a fair question.
Sure.
Do you need somebody to put that in the motion?
Well, to pay the bills, I will.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Sure.
I'll do that if that's what you need.
Okay. Mr. Phillips make a motion to pay the bills. I'll need somebody to second.
I'll second it. Didn't look at them. What's the total amount?
42,000,
Okay.
yeah, I need that
You need
anyway to
this?
get that
Okay.
total.
42,046.42. Okay. I'll second it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Going down B, consideration of hiring, ratifying Mark Strom as a full-time police officer that was effective, I think today was his first day, wasn't it, Chief? I understand that you were advised of that, and concurred.
Right.
You gonna make the motion, Mr. Butler?
Make a motion for that.
I can second it.
Mr. Butler to make the motion, and Ms. Reese was seconding to ratify the hiring. It was for an approved budgeted position, so. Discussion and consideration of approving a transfer from Crystal Grimes as a full-time jailer dispatcher from the city of Creola.
I make a motion to approve that.
Before we do that, I mean, that's good, but Heather, we were able to work out the details with the personnel board to
Yes, sir. They
get it.
emailed today and said, or yesterday, and I got it today, said to move forward.
Okay.
They were okay.
All right.
They waived that part of the.
Yeah, there was a problem with the personnel board. I wanted to make sure we were going about it right before.
It's fine. We've got the
Okay.
letter from the city of Greenville.
And that will put us back where we need to be at dispatchers, correct? Thank you, Chief.
They're not going to ask us for money later, are they?
No, this is not
She'll be an employee of, she's transferring from Creola to.
they've signed off on it.
What Mr. Beach did from here to there.
Yeah, I
It,
gotcha.
the money I think you're referring to
Training.
is for police officers only. It doesn't apply to
Okay.
jailer dispatchers.
Thank you. Yes, you read my mind.
I'll second it.
All right, Mr. Butler's going to make a motion. Mr. Little will second the motion to certify the transfer of Ms. Grimes over. Okay, D, we're going to hold off on just for a minute. We may have time permitting, go ahead and take care of it. I don't know, we're getting, but it's a lawsuit, discussion of the proposed settlement. Jay, I guess we'd probably have to do that.
If y'all want to ask a bunch of questions about it, I've talked to the lawyers at Beasley Allen. It'd probably be better to discuss that in executive session.
Right, is what I meant.
Y'all want to vote on it, and we'll, vote on it at that point. Or come back out here and vote if but.
Right, just for clarification, this is concerning a lawsuit settlement with the city, so for a change, it's somewhere we might get some money, so that'll be good. E, discussion and consideration of incentive pay raise for 3 contract employees. Mr. Phillips had raised the question of some of the part-time or contract employees receiving a partial payment from the American Rescue Fund or Act that the other employees received from. Jay, did you send the email to everyone that you have?
I think I just sent it to you and Heather. I don't know if Heather circulated it to everybody else. I did, it's a.
You can go ahead and tell them, explain it, what.
If everybody is in agreement with it, then, it's just the resolution to what we discussed at the last council meeting about the retirees. I did check on the municipal judge and the prosecutor. That's available if y'all choose to do that, I believe. Also talked to the league. That's a new law, and there's not a lot of cases out there on it. If they meet the criteria of what the intent of the law is for people to receive payment. There is nothing out there that says you can give it to the judge or the prosecutor. It was my opinion that you could talk to the lawyers at the league if they felt the same way. So that's available if y'all choose to take that. And
Did we-
then- and
did we
there's
have court?
Not a issue with the retirees, if y'all want to go with
Did
that.
we do court during that time period?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, Ben.
Matter of fact, we were the first municipality to restart court after the circuit courts had shut it down countywide.
So we had court during them days that
Yes,
you
sir.
specified. Okay.
What we didn't decide was an amount, I don't think, if y'all want to do it. And then, I think we didn't have I don't know that we had a formal vote.
I think that's said on the hours work, wasn't it?
It was 7 hours work, but obviously they don't keep a time, basically, record of coming out for courts, what she was telling us that day. So it's going to be hard for her to give you exact hours. I mean, we could estimate it at 4 hours a court day, I guess, or
Yeah,
something.
you give an estimated time and how many days.
They have court.
We do 4 times a year. 48.
Well, it'd be whatever the minimum is for the pay.
That's
I
fine.
think our
Yeah, that's what
minimum
it
is
say,
500.
yeah. Okay, so,
We had talked about 500 for one employee and 150 for the other two, so I think on that resolution, we would just have to specify. I think you left one blank.
Well, I left a blank for the 3 retirees. If they're going to be different, we'll need to change
Just to
that,
fix that.
fix that, and then on
There
the,
just wasn't a formal vote on it, and that's why we were.
and then the prosecutor and the judge, I did one blank on that. So I think they probably would be the same.
so what type motion we need to put forward?
It's a resolution that's.
I mean, it's not, I'm talking about it's not, we got a number.
Heather, did you put a number on it?
I think you already had one, which was fine. It was, 2022-0101. I just didn't add it to the agenda because we didn't have a formal motion made to do that yet. So
Do-
you would have to introduce it.
Do we just need to amend the resolution, or is it a new?
That's what I did. It's a motion, it's a vote. What I drafted was an amendment to the one we adopted earlier.
Okay,
It's a resolution amending that to add, the way it's written currently, if that's the way you want to go, is the 3 retirees, the municipal judge, and the prosecutor.
Did we also make sure there was nobody that was affected at the water department and, library?
I didn't own the library, I did at the water board. It wasn't anyone that was affected on it. I don't recall.
no, I mean,
You asked
library
on
has
the
what, 4
library.
employees.
We'd
2
already
of
paid
them's
the
already
library.
part-time.
All the library.
We got every employee they
I
had.
didn't know to
Yeah.
check with them.
I
didn't
just-
think that was
Yeah,
in
so
it.
we had checked, I mean, they sent over the list of.
Covering all bases.
Yes, sir. I believe the water bill sent a letter, Jay, concerning their issue. And the employee did disagree, but you got the director, like you said, the director said she didn't work, so.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to introduce the ordinance tonight, or y'all want to try to pass it, and let's go ahead and just put it to bed?
I'd like to put it to bed tonight.
That way we don't have to, I would too. I don't like keeping things rolling over.
I'll get a copy of that resolution during the break and
Okay?
I'll give that to everybody. We just need to, put it up for immediate adoption, suspend.
Suspend the rules and put it up for immediate adoption. Oh, yeah, we're going to do that. If we'll hurry up, we'll give you time to get that done, huh? F, consideration of resignation of Officer Christopher McLean in good standing effective for December 31st, 2021. That's come in after our last council meeting, so it would be accepting the resignation in good standing.
I could make the motion.
I'll second.
Alice will make the motion, Mr. Little will second it. The last thing on our agenda tonight is ordinance to amend Ordinance 520, which is the animal control ordinance. If y'all had a chance to look over that. That's going to be up to y'all on what you want to do on that.
That was introduced, for 2 weeks ago.
Is it the per head of cattle or something like that?
It's,
Article 4?
yes, it's adding cattle to a permissible use on the same parameters that the horses were in the past allowed.
All right. It's going to be up to y'all what you want to do on that, so. Those are the things that's coming before the council tonight. Heather, are you aware of anything else? Is there anything that y'all know of that we will need to address or we need to look over in our break before we bring it up in the meeting?
Was, and maybe I'm missing it, didn't you say, someone say that you had to have a minimum amount of acreage to be able?
It should be
Yeah,
in there.
Yeah, I asked Jay about that yesterday when we discussed it, and I was going to try to look over that and scan it when I had a minute in the back.
It was in the last one we
Well,
had.
it says, it does have a minimum, and it works out, I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it's
You wanna see it?
what we had before. It has a minimum. Now, Mark had asked me about it yesterday. Y'all may want to change that and have and we can. I just used what we had done in the past because it seemed to work.
Right, and it was in the last meeting we had that, it was wrote down the amount.
Yeah, it's in there, but it's exactly,
Okay.
it works out that you can't
Like one per acre.
per acre, and you add up how many acres you get, and total of what you can have.
Says it. Right, but like you were saying, I thought that you had to have a minimum acreage before it even comply. Right.
Put it in there.
I'm looking at it now. Thank you,
Visual
ma'am.
intertract, with 1 per acre, no more than 2 per acre on the very back, right here is where you're looking for.
Yeah, I saw that, but I was just,
So,
There's
y'all might want to
different
look at
ways to
that.
do it
That's
if y'all wanna
section
do it something different. I just
10-51,
chose what
keeping
we
of
had-
cattle.
Same as
That's
the
where it's
horses.
titled.
Yeah.
Yeah, same as the horses.
right, but I'm just saying, if you had 1 acre, you could
Right.
get 1 cow.
Right.
And that's what we said we didn't want.
Right.
Is that we didn't want somebody right up on the fence line of someone else. You know, we didn't want somebody to just put it in a neighborhood.
Well, y'all want to,
Minimum of 5 acres or something, is what
yeah,
you're saying.
right,
And I
right.
think that we did decide on that.
I don't know that that's in that. If y'all want to change it, we probably ought to, that we need to not vote on that and make that change if y'all want to do that.
Okay.
I would like to do that, but, I don't want to.
There's nothing in court that says we got to pass it tonight, so we can
Okay.
just discuss it and we'll say what your changes are and bring it, and just do it that way.
Yes, sir.
We can get everybody in agreement. Okay, it's 6:49. We got 11 minutes, so hopefully our meeting will go smoothly tonight, and I do appreciate it. So we got about 10 minutes to get up and stretch real quick, and
Might be on.
Welcome to the regular meeting of the Satsuma City Council for our regular meeting of January the 4th, 2022. We welcome everybody here at our meeting tonight. We've kind of gone over the agenda in the pre-council earlier, so hopefully our meeting will move rather quickly and we can get a lot accomplished. So with that being said, we go into our go back to our agenda. We've called to order. We're going to go to an invocation. We're going to, in just a moment, ask that you stand, silence your phones, remove your hats. Ms. Reese is going to lead us in invocation. So when you stand, please remain standing for the invocation and the pledge. Please stand.
Let us pray. Father God, we come to you tonight. We thank you for your many blessings. We ask that you be with those that are sick or hurting or those that have lost loved ones. Please comfort them. We ask that those that seek you find true joy in their soul. We ask that this time, Lord, with everything being so disrupted in the world, that you watch over us as a community, a small community, our neighbors. We just ask that you be with each other and help those folks, including myself, extend the olive branch, turn the other cheek, be the neighbor that you would want to have. I just ask you that in many things. And I also ask that you help us do the work that be pleasing to you, Lord. I ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Reese. Okay. Get something here from Mr. Little real quick, if y'all excuse me. Pass that over to Randy, if you would, please. There you go. Sorry about that. The next thing on our agenda will be the roll call.
Councilmember Little,
Present.
Councilmember Butler,
Present.
Councilmember Skelton, Councilmember Reese,
Present.
Councilmember Phillips,
Here.
Mayor Barlow.
Here. Please let the record reflect that all are here with the exception of Councilman Jason Skelton, who was unable to attend. We also have the police chief, the fire chief, the city attorney, and the city clerk present for our meeting. Next, we have an agenda tonight we've discussed in our pre-council. Has everyone had a chance to look over? And I know that we discussed that, so if that's okay.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Reese, seconded by Mr. Little to approve the agendas. Distributed, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Okay, next thing is the approval of our minutes from our last regular meeting of December 21st, 2021.
Make the motion that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Little and seconded by Mr. Phillips to approve the minutes from the last regular meeting. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Recognitions, we have nothing on the agenda tonight. No one, so. The next was visitors. We have several members of the Ladies Club from Satsuma that were here. We had somewhat of a lengthy discussion in pre-council regarding the chapel that has been in discussion, as we've noted, for a few years now. So without going back into it in great detail, but for the minutes tonight, y'all did approach, y'all have requested that, I guess, wanting to know the stance of the city and where we were for it. I think that you got an affirmative from everybody that's up here tonight supporting the project. So y'all are going to work with our inspector, Tom, there at Steel Creek to try to get some type of bid so we can formulate the building, exactly where it's going to be located, the approximate price, at least put us in the ballpark, so the council will be aware of what our potential could be to, we know that today's market, things are subject to change, and I'm sure that there will be changes made, but at least we will have a starting point both for y'all and for us. So we agreed in that meeting to come back on February the 1st, that's the first regular meeting in February, for us to have an agreement and have some numbers from y'all and through Tom, so that, and I'm sure there'll be dialogue between us over the next month. But we will have something that night where the council can support it or show and what we may be looking at for that. Is that a fair assessment of our? Okay, thank you. So if that satisfies y'all, hopefully that does, and we will look forward to this project maybe finally getting a starting point for us. So thank you for coming tonight. I don't think there was anyone else signed up for the agenda tonight. Is there anyone else that would like to come before the council tonight with any questions or concerns from our city that might want to do so? I see we got Mr. Jack there. He's all regular. Of course, the Women's Club, Mr. and Miss Walters there in the back. So, Emmett, we always appreciate y'all attending from the Call News. Thank you. Okay, well, moving on pretty quick. We're going. So, most of the things that I brought up tonight, some of those were actually going before my time up here. One of them is going to be a lawsuit that we will have to go into executive session about tonight. Probably, will, if the okay with the council, we'll do that at the end. So that way everybody that wants to leave can go ahead and go. But as I said earlier, the Civil Southeast Sidewalk project is still progressing along, and I will prepare a letter to go back to Alan from Civil Southeast, who is the project manager over that, and hopefully those projects will start to move in the first part of this coming year. We've discussed the high school bass tournaments here in Satsuma this coming weekend. I think some boats started arriving today to do pre-fishing. We are working with that group to do the request that was made for us from regarding getting a couple of hotel rooms for our sponsorship of the event. As I said earlier, there was a large tree that had a limb fall in Baldwin Square. Mr. Elmore and Travis both called me, said they thought it should be an emergency due to it being so big and so many people around the park. So we did have that taken down since our last council meeting, but it was something we had not discussed. So I did let Ms. Reese know since it was in the parks. As I said earlier, that water sewer project that we've been looking at for the west side of the city over around the I-65 service road and South Oak Drive in that area is still progressing. We're certainly hoping that will be released very soon so we can dig that project out to bid. I think we finally got the grant writer contract straightened out, and at the request at what was agreed on by Mr. Little and Mr. Skelton is what she has now got. So we will do that so that we will have a grant writer back working with us. I did bring up that the city employees have done a very good job around through the Christmas holidays and New Year. Also, the Steel Creek project, which I think Ms. Reese may go into a little more in depth, finally got moving, and those contractors have done a good job down there. I think y'all will all be pleasantly surprised. Speaking of Ms. Reese, I think you got a birthday coming up here in the next few days, don't you? So,
I do.
Good.
Sure.
Would like to express our sympathies to the families of Doug Capps and also Lamar Lucas and their passing. And also remind y'all that Mr. Holcomb, living back here behind us, his wife has been really sick here the last few days. So if y'all see one of them or see him around, you may express that. Other than that, I think everything else will be covered in our line items or by a council member. So that is all that I have. Mr. Little.
Mayor, just to give senior report, the seniors are still having 12 to 15 participants that come down. They do meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I know with the COVID ramping back up, we might have to address that situation again like we did in the past, but we'll stay close to that situation and monitor it. The Meals on Wheels program delivered 714 meals. The senior van went out approximately 35 times, like you said earlier, to, various appointments. And we did give out two new applications. So it is, as you mentioned, also a very important thing that we do or provide for the city, for the seniors, and I do appreciate all the support for that, and I know they do too. I believe that's all, Mayor. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Little. Moving on to public safety, Mr. Butler.
On the fire department report for the month of December, we got 72 calls and 5 calls for the mutual aid. For the year of 2021, we got 950 calls for that and 68 calls for the mutual aid. This is 108 calls more than 2020. So, it's been busy right here for the police department. And Chief Waits, he got a grant for the FGJ. It's for $160,000. Now, it's submitted, and I hope that we get that. And also, he's written $40,000 for a grant waiting when they're open. Then it'll be submit right then. But other than that, that's all I have.
Okay. Right. Thank you. And we have submitted for those grants, correct?
Submit, yeah.
Right. Okay. Good. Right. Said earlier in what I was going over regarding our grant writing and the sidewalks, both of those that I've spoke with Mr. Skelton about, and also Tom, James, and Travis have looked over those, so they all concurred that everything looked in order from that. So moving on to parks, Ms. Reese.
Yes, sir. I have 2 announcements for the library. 2 days from now, Thursday the 6th at 11 a.m., there will be a book signing with Monica Tapper. She is the author of A Culinary Tour Through Alabama History. So just see the library for more details, or you can just show up the day of the event. Also, they usually have this class all the time. Not all the time, but I guess annually. But it's time again for the free Medicare education class. It's at the library on Tuesday the 18th, January 18th. There are 3 sessions, 11 a.m., 3 p.m., and 6 p.m. And you can register by calling the library, or you can stop in and see them. But again, that is a free class. Also, I asked the mayor if he could get some guys to help move the fence in over on the Major League Baseball field, or the major field, the Babe Ruth field. Move that fence in before baseball starts, and that way it allows for some more parking spaces over there. We had been working on that for a while by moving the dirt piles and then having the scoreboard, the old football scoreboard that was no longer in use, having that removed. And then if we can move that fence in, he said he'd see if they could work on it. Also, update on the tennis courts is that they are going to put us on their schedule. We believe that they misunderstood the city of Satsuma to be the school and thought it was the same project. However, it is 2 separate projects. So we'll be looking for some movement soon. Also got the quote and the design back on the sign and the rules, the sign for the rules for the Bark Park. So we have some money in the budget, along with some money from the fundraiser, the pet parade, and looking forward to getting that approved, or I guess not approved, but purchased. And I have a design back here if you guys want to see it, and Randy's actually given me some feedback, which was helpful. So then Steel Creek Lodge, it's looking really good. A couple of us went up there last week, or was it the week before? I don't know, was it before?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Went up there and bounced some ideas off of each other. And right now it's kind of gutted, I guess you'd say. But it's going to be looking good, and it'll surely be something that we'll be proud of when it's finished. And that hopefully we can get, even though the lodge is rented pretty much every weekend, have increased rental and maybe attract some other groups. So that's all.
Thank you, Ms. Reese. Moving on, Mr. Phillips, Public Works.
Mayor, looking through the list that Mr. Elmore and Mr. Jones supplied, they've had a very busy 2 weeks. I'm going to just run through some of the high points of things they did, not every little detail. But we cleaned up around Steel Creek Landing, the surrounding area, pressure washed all the piers, the pavilion, trimmed the azaleas and bushes, repaired the boards, and leveled off the parking lot and took down the old wooden fence around that's been falling down, so they removed it, and that's something we need to discuss later, I guess, is what we're going to put back up there, you know. They pressure washed the community center, gates, posts at the entrance, scraped the road. We leveled off the parking lot at the kayak ramp, which lasted about 2 days before you went down there, and the four-wheelers have already torn it up again. Chief, I would like you to put that kind of on close patrol, because they put a lot of work. We put rock down there, graded them, and like I say, they just went down there, and you go down there and look at it, you'll see how bad it looks.
Yes, sir. We have actually written a couple of tickets on that new ordinance too, so.
Personally, if you catch somebody down there spinning donuts and tearing that up right there, you already impound the vehicle. Because, I mean, we're spending a lot of money to maintain that for everybody in the city, for a couple to destroy it. They repaired the F-150, the leaf vacuum, the chipper truck. All of them were down at certain times. And we have scheduled the grader to come in Friday the 7th. So whatever roads we have in the city of Dirt will be graded the 7th.
Let me correct you on that. I think they called back today and said they would not be able to make it until the next Friday.
Okay, so they've changed the date.
It's my understanding they did change that this afternoon.
Okay. And of course, Mayor Barlow brought up about the tree in Baldwin Square. Need to be took down, and that's pretty much a overview of the big projects they took on. Of course, they've trimmed limbs, picked up paper, and different odd jobs like that. I also want to bring up one other item, and Mayor, it's not on the agenda. I don't want to discuss it. I brought it up earlier, but I did ask Mr. Elmore to revisit some of the repaving we had in the area. And he did get some prices for Thomas and Harrison. And so I would like to add that to the agenda for the next meeting, to give all the council members time to look at it and what it costs to fix that area right there. It's gotten in pretty bad shape. And like I said, I brought it up earlier, but I just run across the paperwork when we took a break. So if we could, I'd like to add that for the next meeting.
Saw they had that in the.
And that's all I got, Mayor.
Repaving where?
Pardon me?
Repaving where?
It's Thomas and Harrison, and I'll pass this down to you, because here's the quote of when we did bid all them out of the cheapest one, where he updated it, and that way all the council members and the mayor can look at that.
Right, our discussion, I think we probably need to, maybe in a pre-council, bring it up. But that is one of the areas we looked at for the CRISA funding, which we're still hoping will be in April or May.
It was just that one's getting so bad, I felt like we need to discuss it, and I knew you'd had all them in the package.
All right, thank you, Mr. Phillips. All right, if there's nothing else from the council members, we will move on for the next thing on the agenda, items for discussion and/or consideration. First thing on our agenda is the payment of the bills.
I'd like to make a motion that we pay our bills for the total sum of 42,000. Give me just a second. Well. Yeah, $42,046.52.
Was that 42 cents?
52 cents, I think.
52.
52?
Yes, sir.
Okay, second.
We're not gonna get into a long discussion over that few cents, I hope, but motion made by Mr. Phillips and seconded by Mr. Little to pay the bills in the set amount. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
The next thing is discussion and consideration of ratifying the hiring of Mark Strom as a full-time police officer effective for January the 1st, 2022. I think today was his first day.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Oh, second.
Motion made by Mr. Butler and seconded by Ms. Reese to ratify the hiring of Mark Strom. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Item number C, discussion and consideration of approving a transfer for Crystal Grimes as a full-time jailer dispatcher from the city of Creola to Satsuma.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Butler, seconded by Mr. Little to approve the transfer of Ms. Grimes. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
I will ask if the council doesn't mind, as we said in pre-council, let's move item number D, the discussion and consideration of a proposed settlement with the city of Satsuma. It's a lawsuit. Let's put that at the end so we can perhaps let everybody leave, and we'll do that in executive session, if that's okay. Okay. Yeah, we'd already done that in pre-council to move, so moving to E, discussion and consideration of incentive pay for 3 contract employees.
Mayor, like I say, we made last meeting, do we need to amend what we?
We did, y'all need to decide if you want to go forward with it, and then if you do, you want to vote on it tonight to amend it.
Or say, I'll put that in form of motion, that we move forward and do amend it.
To include the,
5 employees we've discussed.
which are 3 former that are contract employees and 2 professional services employees.
Correct.
We have a motion made by Mr. Phillips to approve the incentive pay for those 3 people, where we would amend the ordinance to include those.
On that resolution 2022-01-01, it would need to read where, I guess the amendment, where they pull out 2 employees, because has a dollar amount on that, the space. So you would say, I guess maybe you would want to indicate the amount of hours in that sentence. So you would know the 2 that would get such and such pay, and then the other one with fewer hours would get the other pay. Is that how it needs to be?
The way it's written right now, it's lump sum, because I thought they would all be, I didn't have the hours for me. So
I think
there's
it's-
going to be a
Two
difference.
getting one and one getting another,
Okay.
based on the hours.
The
that they
hours.
originally wanted. Yes, sir.
We would need to just change that to list who's getting what.
So I would agree.
That's what we did last time, you just,
And then introduce it, and then you could.
I think you could pass it with that amendment. All we're doing is clarifying which category they fell into. We're not changing the other. You can vote on that, and we could correct that on the paper copy.
Okay.
that's pretty much what we did originally, was we set the limits, and then Heather figured the time to put them there.
And then the 2 professionals, you're gonna go with the lower one.
Right. Mm-hmm.
For the 2 professionals.
That included also in that same,
Yeah, it's,
And they are
Okay.
in that
they're in there.
Okay.
But you needed to, I didn't know the amount y'all were going to approve, so we would put the limit.
It's by the hours, it's already set.
We could fix that based on
I put that in the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Well, I hate to say it, but that's what I was
I mean, it's been so much discussion on it.
Mr. Phillips made a motion to
Yeah.
amend the said ordinance, basically to include 5 other employees. Mr. Little seconded it. And I think we've discussed it enough that we all know who they are and what it is. So is there anything else we need to discuss? All those in favor signify.
We just suspend the rules? I had that
It's
as
a
a note.
resolution.
Miss-
You have to.
Oh, okay, never mind.
It's not an ordinance, it's a resolution. So you-
Resolution, okay.
I see, okay, never mind.
I mean, we're ready to call it for a vote, I would think.
She was just asking me, do we have?
Okay, I'm sorry. Motion made by Mr. Phillips, seconded by Mr. Little. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Consideration of a resignation from Christopher McLean in good standing to be effective on December the 31st, 2021.
I make the motion.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Reese and seconded by Mr. Little to accept the resignation in good standing. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
The last thing on our ordinance tonight was an ordinance in 542, an ordinance to amend ordinance 520, animal ordinance. And I think the council brought some discussion in that they were not really clear regarding the cattle. So unless somebody thinks it needs immediate passage, I think we're going to lay it over for another council meeting for y'all to work that out, the wording of what's good. So
Just for clarification on that, Mayor, what is the limit you want? You have a minimum of how many acres
Oh, I
that you
don't
would have?
know, I mean, you said, you just
5.
called out 5, I mean,
I think that's what we discussed was a minimum of 5 acres.
and I think the gentleman that came said that it was such that those folks that already had, I guess, horses had a large lot, because we don't want to put it at 5 if somebody has a horse and they only have 4.
Their grandfathered, if that was to be the case.
Is that what
if
it
it's
would
already here.
happen?
Existing people, yes.
Yeah.
would-
right, would be grandfathered. So-
Okay, so it won't affect anybody
Right.
that, say, if you had a smaller parcel or something. I mean, is that too many acres, 5? I mean, whoever has it.
Problem with that, I mean, make sure they have a certain amount of acreage. I wouldn't want somebody with 2 or 3 acres be able to, right, so, I mean, I would think that
5? Okay, 5.
Well, I don't know that 5 is actually,
Is that enough? Not enough?
well, to me, it makes a difference as to where it's at.
Well, how many places, Satsuma, we got 5 acres?
I wish we could just handle this,
Yeah.
by each time somebody comes, handle it on a one time, as that comes up, instead of having an ordinance. I mean, just like this situation here, I'm not for sure how many acres that was that we was talking about, but it was at the head of our own, at Steel Creek, where it crosses. They own property that crosses the head of Steel Creek. And I'm just not for it. I don't care how many acres it is, in that aspect. I know there is horses on that particular, but, I mean, you say there's no difference in horses and cows, but
Oh, I think there is.
there is a difference, but that's just my opinion now. I was not gonna be for it, but,
Oh, okay.
under, I guess, maybe certain conditions I would be, as to, like you say, exactly where it was.
Like, maybe
Might be
like-
different, I might be for, in certain places, but, the way this is and the way it was, I just was not gonna vote for it.
Maybe like must be within a perimeter greater than 100 yards inside your lot or something, like, around the edge if it,
I don't think we can pick and choose who we can let do something. We would sure enough get into trouble there either. We set an ordinance, as long as
Yeah.
any citizen abides by that ordinance, they're able to do it.
tend to agree that would be it's going to be hard to say, but to put it at 10 acres, and like Mr. Phillips said, that's going to That's gonna make it where almost nobody would.
Nobody, there's very few
Really?
people have 5, 10 acres in the city of Satsuma, that size lot.
Well, this,
I think
this particular area, wasn't it 17 acres?
I think it's 17, yeah.
You know, so they could, right?
Right.
And I'm not for that. I mean, that's just my opinion at the head of Steel Creek. I've done had too many people come to me and say, hey, their kids, swim in this, and just a few different issues there, but that's just my opinion.
Well, we're not gonna vote on it tonight anyway, so if that would be whatever, the council wishes to do on the ordinance. I would have to go with Mr. Phillips. I don't know how we can, in all honesty, do it on a case by case.
And that's why I say you probably can't on a one-on-one,
Okay.
I don't think you can do a one-on-one. You wouldn't be able to do that.
We're gonna just table that item for tonight then, okay, so we don't have to do anything else. We have discussed all the items that was on the agenda tonight and the things that was brought up before the council. The only thing remaining on our agenda tonight is a lawsuit issue, and as y'all well know, those that come, we almost always do those into executive session. So, the time is approximately 7:33 PM. If, in a moment, I guess, Jay, what do you think, 15 minutes would give us adequate
That'll
time?
be plenty of time, but we will need to come back and vote on whether to accept the settlement proposal or not.
Okay,
That'll have to be done out here.
okay. So if the council, somebody will make a motion to go into executive session in order to discuss pending litigation with the city, I think we have to do that, and for a time not to exceed 15 minutes.
I move that we go into executive session to discuss legal issue not to exceed 15 minutes.
So thank you. Appreciate all of you coming. Happy New Year. Y'all are welcome to stay, but I think that everything else is going to be pretty dry when that's over. Okay, the time is 7:42, and we finished our executive session in record time without the attorney dragging it on and on. But Jay, would you briefly describe the settlement of this lawsuit that we've agreed to in the back?
Yeah, I'll be happy to, Mayor.
Thank
Back several months ago, the city of Satsuma, along with a number of other municipalities, both counties and cities, filed suit against various manufacturers of some of the OxyContin and opioid medications, prescription medications. One defendant, this Endo, has settled out with the group. We're part of a class action. And the proposed settlement for Satsuma's share is $8,303, which would have to be used for some type of program that would further the purpose of the suit. That's to provide some drug education or some services to help people that did get caught up in the opioid addiction or prevent future occurrences of similar type drugs. The amount is based upon a formula of the criteria that you had to show of where the city was affected by drug addiction and drug issues related to opioid.
Okay, I think Jay has given us a rundown of what the settlement would entitle and what the city would gain from it, and basically any money we received on this particular settlement must be used in some way for drug treatments or preventions or programs, and so I mean that's certainly a good thing, and we all agreed to the settlement basically in the back. So if anybody else has any comments or any discussion, if one of you would like to make a motion that we accept the settlement terms as we've discussed,
I make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Reese, seconded by Mr. Phillips, that we accept the settlement offer that was made. And so if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of accepting the offer signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Okay, it passed unanimously, so we've agreed to the settlement.
And then, Mayor, there's a sign-on page 3 that you would need to sign and either send it back to me, I can send it to William, or you can send it directly to William.
Okay. Okay. I'll sign the copy and we'll get it back, and hopefully we'll get the money in a short amount of time. We have now addressed all the issues that I know that was on the agenda and that was set forth to come before the council. Can y'all think of anything else that we may need to do or line up or get it ready for the next meeting? So
I did forget to mention one thing. I had a citizen reach out to me about possibly adding some fitness equipment in the parks area. So her and I are going to work together, and she's going to share her vision with me, and we'll see what ideas she has and if it's something that the city could do. And once we figure that out, I'll address you guys. And
Sure.
it'll be a nice feature to add.
all right, let us know. Okay, well, if there's no further business to come before the council, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. We are adjourned. Thank all of you tonight.